Kansas Ag Report, I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we talk with Josh Roe from Kansas Corn on the situation with Mexico and U.S. corn exports. We'll also have more features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, along with the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In ag news, growth in farm real estate values remained strong but showed some signs of easing alongside higher interest rates. The Kansas City Federal Reserve says the average interest rates on farm loans increased from record lows at the beginning of last year to decades high by the end of December of last year. Now, despite the rapid rise in rates, the value of farmland continues to increase, but at a more tempered pace than earlier in the year. The growth in farmland values has softened most for the lower priced land and in states most heavily affected by drought. Now, looking ahead, a majority of bankers expect higher interest rates to have a negative effect on farm real estate, and some anticipate a decline in values. Farm finances and credit conditions supported by strong commodity prices in 2022. The outlook for 2023 remains positive despite some persistent risk. Higher expenses and adverse weather continue to be a concern. And Kansas 1st District Congressman Tracy Mann has been selected to serve on the House Ag Subcommittee on Commodity Markets, Digital Assets, and Rural Development, and the Subcommittee on Nutrition, Foreign Agriculture, and Horticulture. If you might recall, earlier in the month, the congressman was tapped to serve as chair of the Subcommittee on Livestock, Dairy, and Poultry. Now, the jurisdiction of the Subcommittee on Commodity Markets, Digital Assets, and Rural Development includes policies and statutes, as well as markets related to commodity exchanges, rural development, and energy. And the jurisdiction of the Subcommittee on Nutrition, Foreign Agriculture, and Horticulture includes policies and statutes, as well as markets related to horticulture, marketing and promotion orders, nutrition and domestic commodity distribution, as well as foreign agricultural assistance and trade promotion. We'll have more with Josh Roe from Kansas Corn when we return.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
And joining us is Josh Roe, who is Vice President of Policy and Market Development for Kansas Corn. Hi, Josh.
Hey, how you doing, Ken?
Well, very good. We wanted to bring you on to have a discussion of a situation that is ongoing, but really hit us, just a week or two ago when the saber rattling become, I guess, almost one of the worst case scenarios, but we able to maintain so far. That is the situation with Mexico saying they don't want any more GM corn from the U.S. What kind of give us how we got to where we are today?
Yeah, this started out, approximately 18 months ago. The Mexican president issued a decree. So think of that similar to how we're used to executive orders coming out of our administration that banned the importation of GMO corn beginning in January of 2024. And it was as a lot of things are at this level, it was very vague. We didn't know if this applied to all corn or just food grade corn for that. And, at any rate, we were very alarmed with this because we know that, you can sort we can go through any number of scientific studies that shows that GM corn, biotech corn, it is not only more environmentally friendly just because of production methods that it use, but it also has no adverse human or animal health impacts. So we're very concerned about this at any level.
So, I mean, this, Mexico is the largest importer of U.S. corn. So obviously, we're not that far away from Mexico ourselves, Josh. So being right in the heart of the grain belt, I mean, this could have big implications. And Kansas Corn was one of the first to get right on board and work with the national group and the administration, saying, "Hey, we've got to resolve this."
Yeah, and absolutely. Mexico's been the number one corn exporter for 4 out of the last 5 years. We had 1 year where China bought a significant amount of corn. 90% of the corn grown in the U.S. has some biotech trait in it. And like you said, Kansas is, just from our geography, we're uniquely positioned to export a lot of corn directly to Mexico. There's been a lot of investment by agribusinesses here in this state that they load these unit trains of corn, in north central Kansas. And in a matter of less than 2 days, that corn is at its final destination within Mexico. It's custom cleared here in Kansas. It just flows right across the border in that. So that's the system set up over this. So it's very, very alarming that to kind of lose this market potential through here, based on something that really hit us out of the blue. And so yeah, we were really concerned about this from the very start. Elevated this nationally through National Corn Growers Association. I must say, the Kansas delegation are both on the Congress and Senate side have been very supportive, sending letters to the Biden administration to start open up the trade dispute things, because this really is a clear case of a dispute that is worth their kind of going against their contractual obligations under the USMCA agreement for many reasons.
We're talking with Josh Roe, who is Vice President of Policy and Market Development for Kansas Corn. We're going to take a break, come back, and then maybe ask what the next steps are. We'll do that in just a moment.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
And our guest is Josh Roe, who is Vice President of Policy and Market Development for Kansas Corn, talking about the situation of Mexico wanting to ban GM corn and stopping most all the export markets. So, Josh, where do we go from here? I'm assuming there's discussions, but are we kind of beyond that? I mean, is it this has implications beyond just corn farmers. I mean, livestock producers, all those other end users, ethanol. I mean, this could create a lot of confusion, a lot of questions.
Yeah, and absolutely. And they updated the decree. We got a Valentine's Day gift, if you will, from the Mexican government. They updated the decree February the 14th. It took out that deadline, that hard and fast deadline, but said they would allow the import for feed corn while they're searching for other supplies, I can say good luck in finding those supplies. They've been taking in about 670 to 700 million bushels of our U.S. corn. People in the trade said that maybe if you searched every corner of the world, you could get 40 million bushels of non-GMO corn there. So there's a large gap that they need to overcome on that. And so that really is that next step, is to open up that dispute process within USMCA, because this has, and we're not going to just sit there. And even though a vast amount of our corn is, especially in Kansas, it is for feed, it's feed corn there, or ethanol byproducts that go into Mexico. And so we're not going to just take this as, well, they're never going to find this supply of corn, so we'll just keep going on. But we're not going to take this sitting down, because this really opens up a slippery slope that could adversely impact other industries, because they've done this for corn, singled it out. What's the next thing to say that they're not going to do this for dairy products, on something similar line? We're sending ever more amounts of that record imports of pork and beef to Mexico there. What's not to say that that's not that next level? And so there's been broad support from other industries in the U.S. and in the state, not just from corn on this, because this really is opening up Pandora's box, that if we let them slide on something on non-scientific basis, that's what's next.
All right, Josh. Well, thanks for the update. We'll continue to watch this story as it develops, and glad Kansas is right on top of this, and we'll work and see how it works through the process. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
Josh Roe, the Vice President of Policy and Market Development for Kansas Corn, has joined us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment. All right, very good. Well,
good stuff.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Mental health is really important to me. Not only have I struggled myself, but I've watched other farmers struggle. I saw my grandfather struggle from time to time, and we're out here for hours on end by ourselves, and it just lets our mind race, about what if, what about that, the sacrifices that we're making. My kids aren't seeing me, my wife's not seeing me, what am I missing out at home? And there's a lot of things that we can't control that we think we can control. I credit my wife a lot for me going and seeking help. I respect all the women in her shoes that do what she does on a daily basis. I think I've become a stronger person by talking about it, and I hope that my story helps other farmers talk about their struggles and feel like it's okay to talk about it, because it's one of those things that if we don't talk about it, nobody knows that we're struggling, and the struggle is real.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm an agronomist at K-State, and today we're going to talk about staging corn plants that are too big to do the collared method in the field. So when we looked at plants in the field that still had all the leaves on the bottom, they were younger. Once we get past, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We counted the collars for a V6 corn plant. Once it gets too far past this stage, it's harder to find the collars on these leaves, because what happens is the upper plants on these leaves shade out the lower ones, and so the plant doesn't really need these lower leaves anymore, so it loses them. But when that happens, we can't find the first leaf anymore to know how to stage this. But we've talked about how a lot of stages in this part of the corn plant's life are still important for farmers, so farmers still need to be able to tell what stage their corn plants are. And so we're going to talk about a way that we can stage corn plants without being able to find the first leaf. And what we have to do for that is take a corn plant and cut it in half with a sharp knife, which I've already done here. And we'll notice that as we're looking at this corn plant, we can see these rings that go up the corn plant this way. And those rings are called nodes, and nodes are places on a plant where new organs can grow from. So like a leaf or a branch, they grow from nodes. If we think about our bodies, where the nodes are on our bodies, we have hips and our legs grow from our hips. We have shoulders where our head and our arms grow from. Corn has nodes where its leaves grow from. So that's a way that you can think about nodes. When we're talking about nodes, if you'll remember, when we were talking about our V5 to V6 corn plants, when that stem first comes above the ground, that critical stage, we can use that information to help us stage these corn plants, because if we look at the base of these plants, if we cut it all the way to the bottom, there's a triangle at the base where it's just really dense. It's like a lot of rings are all smushed together because that's what's happening. The first 4 nodes are all compressed at the bottom, and the 5th node will be the first line that we see separated from that triangle at the bottom. So what we can do then is find on our corn plant a leaf that is still attached. We're going to use this one. If we follow the sheath, which is this part that's wrapped around the stem, to the part where it is attached, which would be right here, we can see it's attached at this node. So if we count up, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is leaf number 6. So if we know that, we can count up the collars the rest of the way on the plant. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So this would be a V13 corn plant with 13 collars, and that would be a way that we could determine those stages. If we look at a younger plant, we can see that we can see the nodes in this corn plant. They're a little harder to see when they're smaller, but if we look at the bottom, we can still see the triangle with all the dense area, and then the first node up from the bottom. So in a month, in a couple weeks, this plant will look like this one, and we'll be able to see the nodes a lot more clearly. But cutting open a plant, counting the nodes with the collars is a way that we can stage corn when the leaves fall off, and a way that farmers can know what stage their corn is at in the field.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
As an important part of the gather and convey policy process, COG members met on January 26th to discuss and debate policies impacting wheat growers, including approving 2 new resolutions passed by the COG Board of Directors. Both resolutions are intended to help provide additional flexibility and benefits to Kansas wheat farmers, especially during times of drought or other adverse conditions. COG is proud to help address wheat farmers' needs in the upcoming growing season and farm bill negotiations, said Shanna DeGroat, COG Director of Membership and Governmental Affairs. DeGroat and Kansas wheat farmers carried these resolutions and concerns with them to Washington, D.C. January 31st through February 3rd, where they and Kansas wheat commissioners participated in joint winter meetings for U.S. wheat and NOG. As a part of those meetings, the Kansas group met with the entirety of the Kansas congressional delegation to provide additional insights on priorities for the Kansas wheat growers for the next farm bill, including new resolutions passed at the COG meeting. Renew or sign up for a COG membership today to stay informed as farm bill negotiations progress. Membership benefits include a weekly update with state and national news, in addition to a weekly market analysis, the monthly Wheat Farmer Row Crop Farmer newsletter, an additional guide to wheat varieties for the Kansas and the Great Plains. Learn more or pay for your membership at kswheat.com/cog.
Sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Brant Spoon is a sixth-generation farmer in Greenwood County. With his wife, Natalie, and their boys, Cooper, Wyatt, Truett, and Landry, the family manages RBD Cattle Company. They also run their own backgrounding yard and pasture cattle. Natalie and the boys are regularly involved with the family operation through processing cattle, doing part runs, filling water tanks, and more. Brant's manages around 400 cow-calf pairs, along with backgrounding stocker calves. They also farm 200 acres of soybeans. Brant's enjoys intensive management grazing, improving water storage facilities, and continually waging war against invasive plant species. Brant's and Natalie have served as YF&R chairs for the Greenwood County Farm Bureau Board, with Brant's now serving on the board. They also assist with events like Farm to Fork and attend legislative talks. Both served as District 4 YF&R chairs and were promoted later as they helped plan the 2020 conference. During their time on the board, they enjoyed attending other county annual meetings and being involved with their district. The Boone family appreciates that Kansas Farm Bureau is supportive on the local level and is always pushing legislation that is beneficial to agriculture.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
The Rangeland Trust of Kansas, Sand County Foundation, Kansas Association of Conservation Districts, and American Farmland Trust now are accepting applications for the 2023 Kansas Leopold Conservation Award. In honor of renowned conservationist Aldo Leopold, the $10,000 award honors farmers, ranchers, and other private landowners for their dedication to the stewardship of land, water, soil, and wildlife in their care. Landowners are encouraged to nominate themselves, or applications may be submitted on behalf of the individual. Applications for the 2023 Leopold Conservation Award are due by June 1st. Landowners looking for more information on the award or those interested in applying can go to sandcountyfoundation.org. The Leopold Conservation Award in Kansas is made possible thanks to several generous sponsors, including the Farm Credit Associations of Kansas, ITC Great Plains, Evergy, Kansas Department of Agriculture, Division of Conservation, Kansas Department of Wildlife and Parks, Kansas Forest Service, McDonald's, the Nature Conservancy in Kansas, Natural Resources Conservation Service, Green Clover Seed, and a past Kansas Leopold Conservation Award recipient.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Good day. I'm Derek Hermish with Pinion, a division of KCO ISOM. Volatile grain markets are the new normal, it seems. The good thing about true volatility is that it creates much more opportunity than flat markets. However, your opportunity to experience regret is much greater as well. For example, say you sell your soybeans on a 50-cent rally only to watch it go up another $1 the next week after you sell. Can you be happy about selling into the initial rally, or are you going to focus on what you missed out on? Regret should be the least of your concerns when it comes to marketing, but it can rear its ugly head in these environments and negatively affect decisions down the road. Selling your grain at profitable levels is the key. That's what you're always told, but it's never that simple. It is true that you will not go broke selling for a profit, but you're not in the business of making widgets for $1 and selling them for $2. Volatile markets provide opportunity, but they also provide opportunity cost. If you make a decision that nets you 50 cents less on average for your grain than your fellow neighboring farmers, nobody's going to offer you a discount on fertilizer or seed or equipment repairs to help you make up for it. Quite the opposite, as we've seen recently with inputs going higher. There are options, literally, that can be very useful in volatile markets. Yes, I am referring to puts and calls. I know there are many of you out there that are not fans of options. I talk to you quite frequently, and sometimes I agree with you. But in my experience, this is the environment to utilize them. If you'd like to visit with us about it, give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
That's our show this week. Be social with us at kansasagreport.net or on our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week on the Kansas Ag Report.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.